Hey traders, Gavin McMaster here from Options Trading IQ, and today I'm just going to walk you through a recent trade on DELL, which was an Iron Condor. And it's an interesting one because we had to adjust on the downside. So you'll learn a little bit about condors and how to adjust them as well. Just a quick reminder that everything discussed is for educational purposes, is general in nature and does not take into account your personal circumstances. So the trade started out on June 20th. DELL was trading at about 154. You can see here we've got a 2-contract Iron Condor, 5 points wide, generating about $200 in premium, which means there's about $800 in risk. We've gone with a 13 delta for the short put strike and a roughly 13 delta as well for the short call strike, so 12.5. Interestingly enough, there's a little bit of skew happening here. So you can see we're kind of central in the Condor. We've got a pretty equal percentage to the upside and downside, but we've actually got slight positive delta to start with, which I was okay with because the stock has been pretty bullish up until this point. So that's our starting position. And then if we go forward to June 25th, we can see the stock's had a pretty big drop, and our short strike delta here, our 130 put that we're short, has blown out to about a 28 delta. So that's a bit high. One of the rules I have is to adjust if that gets above a 25 delta. That's for a 15 delta starting position. You might have to come up with slightly different rules if you're using a higher or a lower delta to start. But I find if you started around a 13 to 15 delta, adjusting when it hits a 25 delta is a pretty good rule. So you can see here, we're definitely starting to get into a little bit of pressure on the downside. The trade's only down about $58, which is pretty good because we've made a bit of profit from the calls, which have basically become more or less worthless. So what we did in this situation was we actually bought back the 125, 130 put spread. So buy to close that one, and then we actually rolled it down to 125, 120. So basically just rolling it down 5 points. And in order to help pay for the adjustment, we've gone to 3 contracts. So that does increase the capital at risk a little bit on the downside, but helping to pay for the adjustment means we can do it for a slight debit in this case. I think the adjustment in total cost us about $25. So you'll see that when we move forward to the next slide. At the moment, the premium remaining in the trade's at about 260 with about 740 at risk. And after the adjustment, you can see our profit or premium remaining's dropped to about 240. So again, about $20 to $25 it cost us to make that adjustment. So it's reduced our profit potential slightly. It's also added a little bit of risk on the downside. So we've gone from 750 at risk to 1250 at risk, but we've got ourselves back to an 18 delta, which is a much more comfortable level. Now, at the same time, I could have potentially rolled the calls in and done an attacking adjustment on the upside and rolled in the untested side. I know a lot of people like to do that type of adjustment. I will do that from time to time. In this case, the stock has been pretty bullish in the AI sector, and I was a little bit concerned that if I did roll those calls in closer, say into 160 or something like that, if the stock had a really quick bounce back, rolling those calls in, they're going to come under pressure pretty quickly. So I decided to leave the calls where they were and just leave them sitting there to basically expire worthless. Then if we roll forward another week or so to July 2nd, you can see the stock's bounced back to 143. The premium remaining in the trade has dropped from 250 down to only about 70 remaining. And we had about $100 to $120 profit on the trade, and that was a good time to close it out with only about $60 or $70 remaining in the trade. We're up about a bit over $100, so that sort of meets our 50% criteria. We've achieved 50% of the premium, and we can close that out and remove the risk. So hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions on that adjustment strategy or any other questions about Iron Condors, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching and have a great day.